Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rhonda Fair from Seedless Basket. What basket may I be talking about? The basket is of truth. But is it of truth? Take it, back it up. At TTKMS. So I'm hoping I'm in alignment here. And let's speak some words here I'd like to share with you. Yes, good morning, afternoon, and evening. What a day. It's beautiful outside, actually. Actually, it's so nice outside. It's not cold. It's not hot. It's just nice. It's kind of like balance. It's kind of like bringing a framework together. Well, frames, and changing the frames. Isn't that when the temperature changes? It can be a rapid behavior profiling. Yeah, even though it may not seem like it. And it influences and it focuses on understanding and hidden needs. It reads nonverbal cues. It does lip compressions. It actually shows your blink rates and manipulation and perceptions and contrasts and permissions to a perspective that very few have to guide us in this behavior, how we can break the framework and how that can change through a lens of our eyes. Changing the direction of a gaslighter who are jealous, their hearts are in a sad way, dark way, but getting deeper insight and control of this and drawing from a military point of view in neuroscience. How about fighting over the frames, the science principles, and what if they went into not facts? But what if you could rewrite that? What if you could rewrite all this and change that framework and break into it? You know, you watch a police officer when he breaks a glass, he's very quick, or a fireman does. It's very quick, it's efficient, and it gets what needs to be done. But change the framework, and you can do that wherever you go. You can do that at work. You can do it in a restaurant. You can do it shopping anywhere. Wherever it may be, you can do it in your relationships. And you can change that framework. But, again, we need to understand rewriting the reality for you. So the framework, what we can do is expectations and architects. We can all become architects. Well, we can punch a hole in it, as Chase would say. Hey, Chase Hughes, we could punch a hole in that, right? So in that framework, making the window shaky. So from making something like this and making something shaky, how does that happen? Well, not doing it the same way, changing up. As Chase stated, you can go into a restaurant, you can take an order and what they're used to, a coffee and a muffin, whatever. You can change it up and you can go ask them about a special kind of order, what you would like. You kind of break it up. But we need to redefine, we need to learn, and we need to take this in characteristics and made lead, and we become the authors. So it's not one-sided, or is it? It's engineering the frame and maneuvers the trauma, and it's a psychological behavior that we can work on others. Yeah. So to keep you divided or separated, debate or violence, we are sold in the biggest cons. As he explained to us, we are sold into the biggest cons. That's right. But we need our eyes open. If someone cares for you or wants you part of their life, or they really have an interest in you, or maybe they're just doing it out of caring. And because we don't want to be sold to the biggest cons. It's a magician trick. What if a scientist came in and said, hey, you know what? This scientist evaluates you, reevaluates you, and goes, well, how could I change this into a masterpiece? Also follows and checks your limits. Because we are bought into the largest and loudest noise. Our law and our favorite is subject is ourself, is health as wealth. It's a smarter investment or harder. It's a positive attitude or not a positive bias. So look at this memory, how our memory improves, what we can do to make more time for ourselves, step back, stop multitasking, as we can lead into negativity. What if we took our IQ and we remove the errors? What if we take not fully present in one area and present on both sides? What if your goal now exceeds what it used to be over here and can go into a balance in between? And what happens is when you quit doing all the other stuff, your IQ starts to go up. It starts to increase. And it's a rule that certain neurons take over when you shift. So it makes the neurons on another place. It's a positive attitude. And when you are low fired up, emotions go up. But when you're not, your emotional state drops. So we are worth it. So what we need to do is, even in politics, they do not determine our life. But you go out here and our culture determines our life. But it's up to us. That's why Jeanette close again, we pull the trigger. So what is this could be? Well, Mr. Science Man, I thought about this as I'm listening to you. I thought about the telephone. I thought about your science projects. I thought about experiments and being the experimenter. I thought about simulation. I thought about Guk. I thought about how the machines can read into the Bible. And I thought about you. Simulation patterns. Well, if the labs and underground results, which spoken of, way down underground, and results under pressure rewritten in that content, that containment, but it led to results of transformation. What would then be the result of that? What would the mind, the pattern be? In that transformation, is it a man's way or is it a spiritual way? Well, if we really look at it, Jesus, Spirit, holy, holy, He is, and He is the mastery. He is the master. He breaks through. He's conscious without consent. Okay, He's conscious without consent. He breaks through this. So then there's human data, and there's robotic data, and there's the Holy Spirit data. So we have you, we have the robots, and we have Holy Spirit. Then the panic command that runs through this, right? Runs through, and then what happens to the mainstream? What happens to the neurotransmitters what happens when it starts ruling over all this? What happens when greed, manipulation, inefficiency, dismantling the foundation through the pressure of the project, left to balance, not instability of man? So man is imperfect, correct? If you have read that, in the actions that trigger the socio-technical behaviors, well, control thrives on fear. So if control thrives on fear and love thrives off peace, then does it not become the force of the synchronization into the experiment now becomes the experimenter? So no longer is it the other, in the pen in the other hand, but the experiment. The person that was doing the experiment has now handed over to the switch. It is flipped. So now is she the experiment? She is now the experimenter, which you become the experiment. What happens now, what it does is it flips and it reflexes. So it flexes not, when you look at a porcupine, what are you afraid of when you see a porcupine? If they're scared, what do? They release, right? They release. And you're scared. It hurts. It pricks back. But what if you took that porcupine and you flipped that porcupine inside out? It starts pricking you back. Maybe to a scientist they find this quite interesting. Maybe lose sleep over it. But it pricks back. So the solutions are now flowing. And they're calming the heart, they're calming the mind. and they're seeking eternal truth. So the love is switched to the need of God and no need from man, but becomes a choice. So there is no question, for it is clear. It is very clear that self-deception is no longer the key master. There's no more hacks. It is an arrow, and it points to growing up. So now, isn't that called transformation? In this, the mindset in the mind lifts. So the mind control, the destabilization, the enemy, the project comes the focus. The focus is not on the fall anymore, the noise, but being aware on this in truth, but the call of the invention that was created, even as of the telephone, as Alexander Graham Bell. As he did this, he patented the first phones in 1876, but the interest what was in the sound to the extensive work in early aviation, it was defining legacy, it was converting sound and electrical signals and back again. It uses a vibrating diaphragm, and it's electric magnet, and what happens is it's wires to transmit voice as electrical current. What if that drum-like device made the paper and needle vibrate? Did it not? So then the vibration then is converted into an electrical current. And what happens? What if you took that in the project and you turned it into prayer and spiritual life? When it connects and then it recharges. You know, in our spiritual lives, the breakthrough, the choices can give serenity. And I want to give that to you. The choices in this is peace and is an open door of light. It is vision to a perspective from a different perception through my eyes, through the lens, from a different perception to be safe and pleasant. But the reason who hurt you and act like nothing happened is called fear. It's called intentions that have consequences, the power to move. But boundaries trigger. So quiet or silence can break a cycle. So you succeeded in your science project, showing a transformation, a past, present that can lead into our future. Correct? Try something new today. So, Mr. Science Man, I love you. We have choices. I had choices. And I don't need you, but I learned from you. I make that choice to learn from you and learn from others. But you also know what's good for me. And you also need to know what's good for you. To have a resonance, to have a safe place, and have peace is where you have the transformation. So no longer is your mindset always on, and it will be. It's not going to leave. Your ideas, your thoughts, your permanent resonance that you're so used to can allow your brain to relax, to come into that safe home. No longer do you have to perform a sexual activity, but it becomes love. No longer do you have to use funds or money for that, because it is safety. And it's called laughter. It's called joy. Isn't that what love is all about? I love science. I love it. I love how I can change my emotions and how I can make choices, reasoning out things in my life that may not seem like it's working out for some, but it ends up in the end result that it does. What if you could take that in your Federal Bureau of Investigations or any detectives or people that go around collecting information? What if you could take that with the knowledge in wise mind, and not allow it to overexceed you, to overwhelm you, but to have balance. Not allow it to trap you in the money part, as we all need funds, but to know what's good for us, what's healthy. Well, this is to the Mr. Scienceman. I'm Rhonda Fair from TTKMS at Feedman's Basket from above. Oh, by the way, the fumes, cut. Okay, take care. God bless.